You're now tuned in to MJMG Presents, right here on Epic TV Media Worldwide.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Epic TV Worldwide. By way of Miss Jackson Media Group, today I'm Spur Brooklyn. I'm first and foremost Spur Brooklyn, but today I'll be sitting in my brother Philosophy Denim is under the weather. He's been putting in a lot of work, so we're gonna let him rest today. But today we will be sitting down with Radio B. This is a Southside, Richmond, Virginia MC, artist, activist. He got a lot going on. We're gonna talk a little bit about that today. We're going to go into some of his videos and we're going to see what the brother got to say and share. Before we get into anything else further, let's go into one of his visuals. This song right here is called Richmond Rise of Richmond Rap. Let's check out Radio B and then we're going to pull the brother in.
The game got fat while my whole city starved. Yeah. While my whole city starved. The game got fat while my whole city, yeah. I said the game got fat while my whole city starved. Yeah. While my whole city starved. The game got fat while my whole city starved. Nigga. Yeah. Step into my habitat. Cap City, but the middle name Rat-a-tat. Sad in fact, you can see where the pattern's at. Ignorant niggas, third eyes got cataracts. Shit is hectic, word is scummy and heavy. Most dangerous, we number 11. When I was young, we was 5. It was Hunger Games. In the same capital where we was hung and chained. Couldn't have fun the same, never could be unashamed. It ain't a word, but it's some refrain. Wave a flag and no one refrains. Such a shame, fucking right. Guess such is life, or such is death. Niggas take till there's nothing left. Man, this place so cold you could touch your breath. Man, this place so cold you could touch your breath. Cough up a lung where I'm from, ain't enough respect. Spread love in my city, rise of Richmond rap. Rise of Richmond rap. I said what I said, ain't no taking it back. They call it crab barrel, then they say it's a trap. But we the best, I'm just stating the facts. Rise of Richmond rap. Rise of Richmond rap. I said what I said, ain't no taking it back. They call it crab barrel, then they say it's a trap. But we alive, I'm just stating the facts. Rise of Richmond rap. Where y'all subscribe to clout chasing and idolatry. Must do personal inventory like the Dollar Tree. Souls be cheaper than the shit they say out they mouth. Mason Dixon, most say we the South. Rise of Richmond rap. We done spent too many years as the laughing stock. Now we got the last laughing stock. This is not a comedy out. Make peace with your investment, cause wouldn't wanna make drama the outcome. We the underground, like under the underground. Back when Yo Gotti and Boosie the only niggas would come in town. Can't trip, how could niggas really offer a stage? Niggas yank Weezy off the stage, them on our best days. Swear shit done changed. City got so many styles, so much art in the veins. And it ain't all pretty, that come with the pain. But it never seemed to come with the fame. Rise of Richmond rap. Rise of Richmond rap. I said what I said, ain't no taking it back. They call it crab barrel, then they say it's a trap. But we the best, I'm just stating the facts. Rise of Richmond rap. Rise of Richmond rap. I said what I said, ain't no taking it back.
There we go. Rise of Richmond rap.
But we alive.
Let's bring this brother in. Let's bring this brother
Rise
in.
of Richmond rap.
That was Rise of Richmond Rap by Radio B. We're going to bring this brother in. Without further ado, let's bring this brother on and let's get to the shenanigans. It's going to be interesting, man. He got a lot to say, so I look forward to this. I really look forward to this. There he go, the man of the hour, Radio B. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, man. After hearing the Rise of Richmond Rap, that was a breath of fresh air. You captured so much energy of the essence of what I think is being lost in the culture of hip hop. You spoke about a lot. So hearing that, I'm like, yo, before the video even ended, I'm like, yo, could we bring Radio B on? Like, we need to talk to this brother.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Before we even get even further, could you give us a little background of where you was and how you felt and what just brought up like the rise of Richmond rap?
Oh man, being in this scene for 20 years or so, and just seeing the evolution of it, also understanding, um, you know, being from here, knowing how difficult it is, and knowing how difficult it's been for artists from Richmond to actually crack through. We much respect to folks like Mad Skills, who really put Richmond on the map a long time ago. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
when it comes to like following that up and taking it to another level, we're a small market. We're a market that people come to kind of break themselves, but then a lot of artists, like major artists, don't really come back here. Um,
Most definite.
there's not a real infrastructure, or there hasn't been a real infrastructure for how artists are able to move up and take their talents to the next level. But Richmond is like a place where it's just such an immense, deep pool of talent. It's always been so many different like styles and sounds, and to the point where it's been to a detriment, because people will say like, Richmond, Virginia, or Virginia as a whole doesn't really have a sound. But I think what's been overlooked and or what's been undervalued, I should say, is the diversity of Richmond, and the reason why there's no one particular sound is, I mean, you got to think, we're, like I said in the record, we're right in the middle of Mason Dixon, like
I caught that line.
South. We're a college town, we're a military town, we're a
historic town.
Yeah, so it's like I moved here from New York. My parents moved me here from New York. So it's like a lot of people from different places here, people that started careers here and they just stayed here. So it's like natural that there's different dialects, different lingo, different accents, different influences in the music. And so I think that's just something that should have been more appreciated than depreciated. You know what I mean? And I think now that the internet has taken over the influence,
strongly.
Basically there is no indigenous sound anywhere. People in New York don't sound like New York hip hop, or like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Everybody's pulling influences from all over the world. But Richmond naturally just has a diverse set of styles. Like rarely do two artists sound alike here. And I think that's just something that the world is going to be opened up to and going to have to appreciate. So
they will. You keep doing that. You have no choice. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
The name Radio B. Everybody there's always usually a story or a situation or something. Like, break down Radio B.
My original rap name. Well, my original rap name that I really ran with was Blitz.
Okay.
So that was like my early name, but then there was another MC that was from Queensbridge. They used to run with Nas, named Blitz, and he was on Stillmatic, and he started doing some different things, and like we started like kind of crossing different media platforms at the same time. And this is early 2000s, so
Okay.
I'm like, at that time I just was like, maybe I should just go with something different so that I can differentiate myself. And in my mind, I was like, yo, why is no MC named Radio? I said, the boombox, the radio is such an iconic symbolism in hip hop, and it's also, it just rolls off the tongue really well, just so it's like, I mean, you think of Radio Raheem, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you think of LL, And I just like when you see the boombox, you think hip hop. So I wanted, I've always said like I want people to, when they see me, to think hip hop. So it's like so the B obviously is Blitz. So I kept the B for Blitz. So Radio Blitz is what you might see like on social media.
On social media, I did see that. I did see that. That's interesting. So you came from New York, went down south to Virginia, right? That was your first stop?
And I'll say this. I've been here since I was like 11 years old. My parents moved me here, so it was it's not a pilgrimage for me per se.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, you know what I mean?
And you've been for almost 20 odd plus years. How was that transition from the New York culture of hip hop and integrating it into who you are today? How was that transition?
I don't think, for me, I would say it's beautiful to be from New York in that time period because I was able to grow up as hip hop was growing up in New York. At the same time, like I said, I was young, you know what I mean, when I moved to Virginia. So it's like one of those things where my formative years are in Richmond, Virginia, like going, like me starting to rap was completely influenced by Richmond, Virginia. Now my roots and seeds may have been planted long before, but the idea to actually do it came from, being in VA, and but I would say that, being from the Bronx, like I would never want to take nothing away from like being born in the Bronx and living in Yonkers. These are iconic like New York, like staples, places. This is where hip hop was born, what I mean? So it's like, it's beautiful that that's my roots, but I also really I give a lot of credit to Richmond being a hip hop town, especially when I was, in high school and coming up. Like it was just seeing the ciphers, the battles in school and all of that. Like that was really what inspired me to pick up my pen and try my hand at rapping. Just being around MCs in school, you know what I mean? And having that around me. And I was fortunate because my homie, I always, give a lot of credit to my homie Illa Styles. He was like a guy that had like recording equipment, in his crib when we were in high school. So it's like I was able to kind of transition. Like my first couple, by the time like I wrote my first 4 or 5 raps, I was able to record. So that's a blessing to help you really develop and gain your confidence and stuff like that. So
I was just about to ask. When was the first? But you led us right into that. I was gonna say, what was the first thing you wrote? Like, when did you say like? And I know school influenced it, and I know the culture, and having it at that age, hip hop is us as we are. We partake. But when did you know like, yeah, you know what? I'm an MC because you're an MC.
Yeah, for sure.
You're an MC without a doubt. Like we get a bunch of rappers, but you're an MC. When did you?
Yeah, I mean, you can see, you check, my bio or any bio I have on like social media where it says it has a long list of things that I am or do, but MC is first in capital letters. So like anything else really falls behind that. Like you said, we came up in a time where, that's just what it was. You know what I mean? And I see somebody said, what school? I went to Manchester. I graduated in 2000. It was like the moment other MCs that I respected said you were nice. Well, there go Michael Millions. That's my brother right there. Okay, so look, the moment other MCs like Michael Millions said that I was nice, and he have a story, you'll probably be like, it's the time that I battled this kid on the school bus. Right?
You gotta get into that. You gotta
so look, all right. So just because Mike's here,
that's right. Shout out to Mike Millions.
Yeah, shout out to Michael Millions. When I first started rapping, we we ended up being in a group, me, Michael Millions, and my man Demise. We were in a group called Trilogy. But prior to that, I got into it with this kid. He called himself rapping. I didn't even know he rapped till I rapped. And he's like, yo, we're gonna battle on the bus on the way home from school. And so I told Mike, I'm like, yo, I'm about to battle this kid on the bus. I was like, you gotta ride my bus home. So he rode my bus. And I dismantled this dude. But literally, this is probably my first few months rapping. But it was like from there, and you get that reaction, you turn the whole bus upside down. And, you know, and I tell MCs all the time, like, you know, we're in a time now where people just kind of pick up rapping, start recording at home. They're on social media. They never went outside. They never went, they never rapped in front of anybody. Yeah. Nobody ever had
field work. No field work.
Nobody had to vet them and say, yo, you nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought about that the other day too. That's one word that we don't use anymore. I feel like I revived the word MC in Richmond in 2017, 18 when we started Rap Elite, because that wasn't being used, but the word nice ain't being used enough. Like that used to be the description of an MC, like, like and the way you would dial it in is like how you emphasize it. Like, nah, he's nice. Like, he's nice. Like, nah, son is nice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't do that anymore. Like,
we don't.
What rappers come out now and you like they're nice? That's not even a term anymore. But yeah, I mean that's kind of, I'm from that element. The barbershops, and the ciphers, the football games, wherever rappers were, that's where we congregated. That's what we did. If there were rappers at the club, we rapped. That's just what it was.
Rap was a verb. It was a verb.
Yeah, you did that.
You did
it. And if you you battled. If you rapped, you battled, because it happened. It just would happen. It wasn't even like, we have battle leagues now where we schedule it. No, back then it just could happen any day. You had to be flipped up. Don't walk around places saying you rap.
You rap. It wasn't no, hold on, let me get to my joint.
Right now.
No, it wasn't none of that.
We call it now. We call it lacking. That's how it was then. You had to have your bars on deck. I'm from that era. And so with my platforms, I really focus on trying to replicate that element to some extent as much as possible. You can't make it what it was, you know what I mean? But try to replicate it as much as possible to give this generation a taste of what it is like to show, improve, and really be an MC, you know what I mean? And not just, making your songs or whatever.
I love that.
We love that too, but
Yeah. Before we get into some of the platforms you did, you spoke about the stages of, this creativity journey in music. When was that mark when you were like, you honed everything and you gained that control to produce a body of work? What was that body? What was your first thing that you did? And where was the mindset Radio B was in?
Let me tell you, it's so funny, right? I think honestly, my first official body of work was with my group Trilogy. We was still in high school. We had put out a CD called Headlines. But as a solo artist, it's like and this is how much we were outside rapping. I was outside rapping for so long. I ain't gonna say so long in that time. It felt like a long time, but probably from the time I graduated to maybe about 2002, 2003, right? I've been rapping so long and being so many places known for rapping. My first mixtape was called The Best of Blitz. My first mixtape was called The Best of
That's how much work. That's how much work was going on. That was the work. You couldn't have the best of if he wasn't putting the work.
In my mind, it's like, some of these verses you might have heard somewhere. You might have heard them in a verse. You might have heard them in a cipher. You might have heard it, you know what I mean, at an open mic, or you might have heard So it's like, I think that's where the mindset was with that, but it was still a ridiculous title. But yeah, that was my first like body of work. And then I think it was like another project I did shortly after that called All Love, which I have no clue where. I don't have a copy of it. I don't have none of that. But yeah, man, it's been a long journey. A lot of projects, a lot of music, a lot of stories.
You're a man of many hats. And
Yeah.
we spoke about platforms. Could you explain like bringing like the Southpaw Battle Coalitions and those things and why and the whats? Because I think this is something that's very impactful, especially for the culture of what we do. So share some of that.
So, in the early mid 2000s, when I started rapping, I was heavy into like battling and being, like I told you, I was like out there, so I liked the battle. I was into that. But there was a stigma that came across the game where, like, if you was a battle MC, you couldn't make songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I had linked up with my brother Nicholas F. And he was known for battling as well. He won the 106 in Park Hall of Fame, Freestyle Friday, 7 weeks, all of that. But we really disassociated ourselves in a lot of ways from battle rap, or at least didn't get into it too heavy.
Okay.
For a good while. And I remember, I say, man, like 2000, in the 2010s, we'll start saying it was starting to be like a bubbling of like battle rap, couple battle rap leagues in Richmond, right? And I started attending some of these events, and I was definitely super inspired, but I was shocked because I was like, yo, this is like completely separate from the hip hop scene in Richmond. So like there's the hip hop scene, people and then music, and then there's the battle rap scene. Okay. And these guys don't know us over here, and we don't know them. And I'm like, one of the, my homie Bravo ran one of the leagues, and he was kind of like a person that was known on both sides. And I just was like, yo, we got to do something about this. Like something got to be done to bridge this, And another one of my homies, he had his first battle, and he was from North Carolina, and I was inspired. I was like, yo, I want to battle. I was like, I want to battle, but I only want to do it one time. And I was like, I want to do it one time, but it got to be against the best dude from here. You got to be the best dude from here. And I would do it one time. That's it. So I started going to the events. It was League of Champions. I started going to their events just to scout, like, who's the guy? Like, I want to know who the guy is. And
yeah, that's what I want. One time that's who I want to spar with.
Got to be the guy. It got to be the can't be nothing below the very best guy.
Yeah.
So I couldn't. There was no one person that was head and shoulders above everyone else. But my man Bravo, he ran the league, and I remember he was like, "Yo, I'm thinking I'm about to get back in the ring." Who, and I knew he was respected in that space, like, and I just noticed how he wasn't like, people was not kind of like look a little shook about it, and I was like, "Oh nah, that's him. That's you run the league, and you're known on this side." And they respect you like that to where they don't even really want to step up. You're the guy. Even though we're friends, you're the guy.
You're the guy.
And he's like, yo, you sure? Like, because I could give you. I'm like, nah, it's you. I'll make a long story short. There was a lot that took to get that to actually happen. It didn't actually happen for like 10 months. But the build up to that battle was like crazy. So by the time we actually did it, there was like probably like 300-400 people there.
Nice.
In this venue, and it was literally just us on the bill. We ended up slipping a couple other battles in. We had this classic battle. The event was called Legends Never Die. Radio B versus Bravo. Mad Skills was there. A bunch of people, like everybody in the city was there. Probably the biggest battle up until that point. And hit after that, you know, he and I really formed a really great friendship, an even better friendship. And some things happened on his side, and we ended up starting a league together, him, myself, and Nicholas F. And that's where Southpaw Battle Coalition came from. And, you know, that battle did bring together both sides, you know, the battle rap side and the hip hop side, and the rest of the city that didn't really tap into either. They were there, you know, and then Southpaw really kind of solidified bringing those sides together, because you have people that are in the music scene that's actually, you know, putting these events on, and I was bringing guys from the music side and making them battle.
There you go.
Getting them to battle. So I'm
lyrical exercise. Let's do it.
Battle before, but I see that I'm like, you got it in you. Here, let's do it. So that's kind of how that's where that is. And then, you know, some seeds from what I learned from running that platform is what helped build or begins the RBA Rap Elite. Got you.
Before we keep going, there was a question: how was the 50 years of hip hop event in the RVA?
Oh, man, that was beautiful because it was at the Hippodrome. The Hippodrome is like a historic venue in Richmond, Virginia, and there'd never really been a hip hop event there before. Except for, I think I went there for like, they had Raekwon there or something one time, but not like any independent hip hop. It's like one of them places the one place we can't get into.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it was dope that have it there. The news covered it and all of that. And then to our surprise, the mayor came out and he declared that day, this going forward, to be like Richmond like hip hop day. Like it's now like a declaration in writing, you know. So he presented that to us, and you know, now we basically have like a hip hop holiday on hip hop day, you know, in Richmond. So yeah, it was dope. It was a really, really dope event.
That was dope. So you have a new project, right? And I love the title. Stop Looking for Noise.
Yeah, it's gonna be, it's about a year. It's been out a little over a year. Or about maybe close to a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, that project, a lot of people say it's their favorite project. On, I see what Miss Jackson asking about streaming.
Yeah. Miss Jackson, you jumping the gun. Let me line and start with Jay. I know this is exciting, but nah. Shout out to everybody in the comments. We loving the feedback.
Stop Looking for Noise was like the first. So my mom passed away in 2022. And
God bless her, brother.
About a month or so after she passed, I had come across this producer named Don Dubious, and he sent me a batch of beats, and I really just kind of like his production just has a certain vibe to it. All the beats are like at least 2 to 3 beats within one, like they all transition into multiple sounds, and it kind of gave me a freedom to just write, and the songs kind of just built themselves, but the energy was really just me kind of just spilling everything that I had. And like the mindset was how we get stuck on these things, you know, and there's so many distractions. There's so many things and we're being distracted, not just from our purpose, but sometimes from our healing. We're sent in all kinds of different directions from where we're really supposed to be centering ourselves. And that's really what the album is about. It's it talks about grief, it talks about mourning, it talks about healing, it talks about, just everything that the human experience is, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's one of those, I tell people I'm not a numbers guy. You know, people we do the streams and everything, but like I count the amount of people that told me they cried to that album. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where I gauge my impact. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I know that's happening, then I know I've done my job, right? So, and that's something that I got very frequently when it comes to talking about that album. So it's very close to me. I recorded it within about a week and a half. Written and recorded in a week and a half. Michael Millions, he mixes, masters, records all my music. So you see him chiming in here as well. Yeah, it's my brother, man. We've been through this whole journey together. So I would definitely implore anybody to tap in with that album. It's a vibe. It's just a good energy. It's like, you know, you can do anything to that album, 100%. I mean, you ain't going to club to it. You ain't clubbing to it, but you know, you might. There's a couple ones you can move to. So.
Gotcha. I respect that. What we're gonna do? I know there's a few viewers that just jumped in. They got to miss the first one, but they're not gonna miss the second one. What we're gonna go into Arrest the Killers, and then we're gonna come back with Radio B, and we're gonna chop it up a little more. We're gonna get to Miss J's question, and then we're gonna transition to the mini hats that the brother got. But this is Arrest the Killers.
26-year-old emergency room technician was shot 8 times in her home by police issue named John
Mattingly, them some cold-blooded murderers. Brett Hankinson, them some cold-blooded murderers. Miles Cosgrove, some cold-blooded murderers. Arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor. This is not no fucking knock-knock joke. You hardly knock when you pop through the door. Got popped in your leg, just like you should when you breaking and entering plain clothes. You ain't make no resemblance, you was intruders. What was your purpose when you murdered that essential worker? When you put holes in somebody's daughter, somebody order. Shit. The system makes me sick. Between my rights and my life, what it makes me pick. What being black feel like. Can't even sleep in our bed, cause it's only matter of time we reenact that night. DA rehearse y'all lines and tell you what not to say, cause they ain't plan on pressing charges. These the games they play. Don't even see us as humans or as people they ruin. All this evil they doing, all this deceiving they doing. How do y'all look in the mirror? Do you wash your face? Is it business as usual? Do you not feel disgrace? Do you not feel the burden of the lives you take? Do our dead black bodies satisfy y'all hate? It won't no war on drugs, just a war on blacks. Anybody tell you different, that's a war on facts. Then this shit gets deeper. When you enter this statement, they say that couple was a target over gentrification. Won't no misunderstanding where y'all found that line. Whole system predatory, y'all compound y'all crimes, and you sick and proud of it. Fuck it, you don't pretend to hide. It's classic American motherfucking genocide. John Mattingly, them some cold-blooded murderers. Brett Hankinson, them some cold-blooded murderers. Miles Cosgrove, some cold-blooded murderers. Arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor. John Mattingly, them some cold-blooded murderers. Brett Hankinson, them some cold-blooded murderers. Miles Cosgrove, some cold-blooded murderers. Arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor.
There we go. That was Arrest the Killers. First of all, I love the jersey, my brother. I love most definitely. I see the statement.
For sure.
As far as it seems, and not even seems, it's evident that in your music there's always a message. Regardless if it's battle or the intent, there's always a message, and you speak from like a community-based effort. Was that always the case for you, or something in life transition into that? Because, you know, as creatives, sometimes we meet our moment and then we go into those transitions.
I think to some extent that was always there. I I think very early on, you know, obviously I was young, you know, it was like, you know, you just kind of rapping to be rapping. But whenever I was, you know, got to be of, I say even as a young adult, you know, just as an artist, I just always spoke what was present on my heart, you know, and what's going on in my life. So that's just kind of just me in general. So those types of topics, those things are just naturally going to come from me because, well, I mean, I grew up, you know, as a kid that I read the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was in like the 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I went to school as Malcolm X for like in the 5th grade, dressed up with the glasses and, you know, and then I'm talking about like to a majority whites class, you know what I'm saying? Telling them about, you know, Malcolm X and what assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam mean. And I'm a Christian, you know what I'm saying? But I was that kid, you know what I mean? So it's like when I think about it, the roots of all of this, of what I speak about, is kind of just always been there. So it's just natural as I got better as a writer and I was more expressive, I just always spoke on what it was that I felt like was affecting me and the people around me.
I respect that. I noticed in the video. Is that video shot on Broad Street?
Yeah.
So that mural in the background, that's you.
It is me.
That's you. Okay. Talk about that, because I also know you go into design, and we're gonna go into some design and stuff later.
Yeah. So the mural came about during the protests, when everything that was going on with George Floyd and during the pandemic. There was a mural project that was started called Mending Walls, and there was a group of artists who basically all of these murals were focused around like either Black history or representation of Black Lives Matter to some extent, and what was going on with the movement. Just, I wouldn't even like to use Black Lives Matter particularly, but you know, it was inspired by what was going on.
Gotcha. I
respect. They would pair artists that were from 2 different backgrounds, be, you know, white artists and a Black artist, or, you know, artists of another ethnicity and a Black artist, and they would have to come together and talk and tell a story. And the artists that did, so there were 2 artists that came together, one named Silly Genius and one named Nils Westergaard. Nils Westergaard's got a lot of murals throughout Richmond. There's a lot of murals in Richmond. Let me just say that. If you go through Richmond, there's tons of murals on the walls everywhere. And so he reached out to me and he said, you know, we have this concept that we want to do, and it's with, you know, with someone with the hands up, and then around them is all the names of all of these different slain victims of police brutality, which Silly Genius did is graffiti in graffiti form.
Okay.
And he was like, I want, you know, based on like your music and, you know, and your stance on a lot of things and just these topics and just who you are in general, I think that you would embody this the best. And I want to know if you want to, if we can do it, if you know, if this would be something that you can do. So I'm like, of course, like, why would I not? So we went and took a picture, but at the time, still was wondering whether or not funding was coming through, if it was really going to happen. Didn't hear anything else about it. One day I'm sitting down, I'm like putting some furniture together for my mom, and my man Hip Hop Henry texted in the group chat a picture of like them outlining my face on the wall. He's like, yo, I just drove by, and like Nils and Silly Genius out there putting you on a wall. And I'm like, what? So I hop in the car and I, drive out there. Mike meet me out there, and yeah, so like the rest is history. But yeah, I think I have a record called When 16 Ain't Enough. It started out as a poem, a spoken word piece, and I turned it into a song. It's on my album, Jesus Never Wore a Suit. And that song particularly inspired Nils for that particular.
For that.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. Shout out to Name Brand Music.
That's my brother, Name Brand.
Supreme blessings.
Yeah,
we had the privilege, me and Philosophy Them, we had the privilege of interviewing him and sitting down with him. I don't even like interviewing. We got to chop it up.
I was the first person to rap on a Name Brand beat ever in life.
Ooh, let's talk about this. We played a video with the orchestra, and that's the one Miss Jackson was getting to. Let's talk about that. That was really dope right there.
Yeah, so that was another thing that came during the pandemic, man. I got on the Zoom with my man Tom Imensi. He owns a place called or it's in renovation right now, but Orbital Music Park, which really just is a place for musicians to come and they can do rehearsals and practices there and try out instruments and jam out and do all of these things, right? It's just like a playland for musicians. So he had this idea. He had been, had a relationship with this group called Classical Revolution, which is like a group of classical musicians that look for places to bring classical performances that are not your typical, so that it can open it up to a larger base of people, right? So his idea was to shoot a short film where Classical Revolution, you have like a quartet of classical musicians, you have a hip hop artist, and you have a hip hop producer, and then you meet at Orbital Music Park, and they have 4 hours to meet each other, discuss, and create a song on the spot.
4 hours.
4 hours.
That's work. Yeah.
I think either 3 or 4 hours. I can't remember.
Man, it could have been 10 hours. Still, it was 4 hours.
4 hours. So like we got in there. They started playing. Brand starts sampling in pieces of what they're playing, and he starts working on a beat. I start doing my thing, going into my Rain Man, and we beat the clock. And it's this record that came from it called Stranger Things. And there's a film on YouTube. It's called The Remix at Orbital. You can find it on the RVA Rap Elite YouTube. Really, really cool thing. And then we've been able to take that record and perform it in different places. Like we performed it I have a big end of the year concert at the Broadberry called Flag on the Moon. So we just had Flag on the Moon 8, and I performed it at the Broadberry with Classical Revolution. And now I'm starting a band, and two of the musicians from Classical Revolution are in my band. So I'm starting a band called Heaven's Arcade with my cousins, Frank Coleman,
nice.
And Gabrielle. So they're vocalists. And so, yeah, I'm excited about that. It's been something I've wanted to do for a very, very long time. I've actually had that band name probably for like 15 years. And it's
sitting on it. Yeah.
But I'm known for bringing live musicians, to my performances. If nothing else, I always have live drums. So it's exciting, especially to do it with the people that I'm doing it with, and to know how, it's going to be unique. So I'm excited about that too.
And is this band based in any type of genre or expression? Like, what's the gear?
A hip hop band, right? So it's it's led by an MC. It's led by two like R&B / gospel vocalists, and then you have like you have your saxophone. You have my man Ricky on the sax. You have Corvell on bass. You got Lenny on drums, and then you still have, you got Cam on electric guitar, you got Julio on keys, but then you have Becca Longhenry on electric violin, and you got David on cello, right? So it's like
you got the orchestra. You ain't got a band, you got an orchestra.
It'll be very, very interesting once we get the clicking. So we're really trying to figure it out now. But March 21st, at least we'll have our first soft launch performance. So
love it. Love it.
Tuning in, it'll be exciting.
I could tell in every word how passionate you are about this, just creating an expression.
Yeah.
With this passion, I don't want to say dial it down a little bit, but I want to get into this culture from a creative standpoint, as a personal standpoint. This era, this moment, what do you think is hurting the creative in this time? Because you're evidently a creative. We are creators. What do you see in this time that's hurting us?
That's a loaded question. What's hurting us? That's not usually how that question is posed, and it kind of puts me in a little bit of a that's harder to answer than a lot of the other questions people ask about this era, right? So I would say what is hurting us is the lack of true taking the time to value music, right? Music has been devalued, and had been devalued for a very long time. Even prior to this era, you got to think, we came up in a time where people was just downloading, leaking albums. Nobody was buying music. Before we could stream music, you had the option to buy. Or you could just get it for free. Right? Like, you was only buying the albums from your favorites just as a favor. Like, and the overall devaluing of music has got us to this particular point, I feel. The streaming is cool because it's accessible, but at the same time, the ability to just have so much it takes away from the anyone taking any real time with the music, right? It's like, even if you like it, it only lasts with you for a couple weeks and then it's gone. Right? And then I think there's also the element that there's no gatekeeping on the quality. Just that word right there is like, oh, you can't say this, you can't say something is whack. You can't say, this is not up standard, or this, you know what I mean? It's like,
you can't even say you just don't like it.
Right. You hating, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I get that. I understand that, that times change, music changes, evolves, but evolution should be an upward. It should be a forward thing. And I feel like there's a lot of like reverse mechanisms going on. Like we're going backwards. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like the craft and the skill that goes behind this. Hip hop has been it's just you take the social media culture element to it and the trashiness of the journalism. People ask me all the time, is hip hop dead? And my answer is, I would say that journalism is dead before I would say hip hop is dead.
I agree with you.
I can say hip hop is alive because RBA Rap League happens every month. There's 30 MCs hopping in Cypher that really writing, really rapping, right? We really doing this out here. But is journalism, are the journalists covering it? You know what I mean? Like
and if they do, what part of it? That
right,
they really...
at what level, right?
Yes.
Like, and everybody else is just clickbait, looking for the gossip or reporting on gossip or report. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, so it's like, if there's no one to elevate these voices, there's no one to that's supposed to be their job to say if something is dope or if it's whack. That's supposed to be their job to say like, yo, we need to lift these artists up or this, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's the industry, they don't care anymore. They don't develop artists anymore.
No, they don't.
All numbers, all trends. That's all he's going after.
Yeah, chasing smoke.
Yeah, so that's really what it is. I think there's just no value of substance in anything, and in journalism and the music and the business. There's no value of substance, so that's just where we're at with it. It's just a cesspool, right?
It is. And now I want to extend this question further, because there's two parts. Well, there's many parts to you, but there's not just the creative aspect of you, and I don't want to even say the political aspect or conscious aspect to you, but you have an insight. You know what I'm saying? You have an insight and an outside to you. So I want to pose that same question to just people. What's hurting us as people, not just creatives, just people?
I'd say that as people, we have strayed too far from the source. I'll start off by saying we strayed too far from God, right? We've strayed too far from love, and we've strayed too far from traditions. Now, I understand that some traditions are toxic. I understand that some traditions, some things need to be broken, and I understand that. But I think, as a people, we don't value anything that brings us like truly together. Everybody's just kind of out here for themselves. Everybody's just trying to do what makes them feel good, trying to do what lines their pockets. But it's consciousness for Black people, to some extent, is at a better place than it's been in 25 years. Let's be real about that, because there's for a long time after the 90s, there wasn't you didn't hear about melanin, you didn't hear about like pro-Blackness wasn't a thing. Natural hair, all of those things were not prevalent in the 2000s, right?
We were too.
That's something that came back around. So it's a gift and a curse, right? The social media, it hurts us because there's so much trash, there's so much garbage, there's so little integrity in everything. But it also has opened up some conversations. It's just that now we've gotten past the point of like consciousness and into, now we're just seeking attention. And I think that's really the scary part. Like right now we're at this place where money was already like a great manipulator.
Yes.
Attention is worse.
Yeah, it's worse because people do it for free.
I'll just do anything. Anything.
Yep.
Just look at me.
Yeah.
Just talk about me. Just engage me. Just comment here. Just like it. Share it. Whatever. I don't care if you share it and say something negative about me. I don't care what it made me look like. Just look at me. So it's like that's the biggest, craziest thing that we're going through right now. It's like everybody just wants to be seen and they want to be talked about, and they don't care what you see about them, and they don't care what you say about them.
My two questions to you, and this is for the viewers that's here. My two questions for you was basically in definition of you and your music and everything you get, everything you just relayed. You get those seasoning, those pieces, those particles in your music. Sure. And I just wanted to reframe it in a conversational piece just to our viewers to see that it's bigger than just music. It's life, it's perspective, and this is all what we're getting from Radio B. And on top of creativity, so now we're going to shift a little bit. Can you please talk about Mama Joe's collection?
Oh yeah.
Could you give us a little bit, because the creativity, it doesn't just spin on the pen and paper.
Yeah. So
that's why we got him getting up. It's real. He got to get up. So yeah, I want to bring it back.
Yeah, I gotta grab a couple pieces real quick. So yeah, we're let's do that. So yeah, all right. So
yeah, okay.
This is this is a piece. This is called. Yeah, this is called. You know, these. So basically, what Mama Joe's collection is, what you're looking at. Pandemic time. Still, a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened in the last few years, like in these pandemic years. But one of those things was my mom was always a abstract artist. She did, you know, just in her personal, like her way. My mom is someone that was afflicted with lupus and other ailments like fibromyalgia, stuff like that. And you know, in order to like keep herself sane and not depressed, or just to deal with her depression that she was dealing with, she started working on abstract art. Just came out of the blue. So for years, countless pieces of art. And I was just always like a fan of her work. I always thought it was just brilliant. And she never embraced herself as artist like this, because she never took, you know, she never had any type of teaching or form or anything. It was just something that she was doing to keep her mind going. And I would always look for ways to exhibit her art, whether it be having her come out to like open mics and bring artwork with her and sell the art there, or I would like have a show and like, you know, we would have like the front room would be like an art show, like an art exhibit, and then, you know, we'd be doing performances in the other room, just having like little makeshift websites and stuff like that. Always whatever I could do to encourage her to keep doing her art, you know. So there was a period of time where she was like, she had to have a surgery and then she had to go to like a physical rehab location, and I was really trying to keep her, you know, spirits up. And I remember I was working with this program that I did other merch in, and I made a pair of socks. So it was like the sock, I took like one of her art pieces and turned it into a pair of socks. And I brought the socks to her, and like, she just like couldn't believe, you know, that's what happened. Right. Wow. So while she was there, I, you know, was experimenting some more, and I started to do different things like shirts. And then I'm sitting there just like doing this stuff, like making shirts, making dresses, bathing suits and all that. And like, I'm calling my wife and I'm like, yo, you know, look at this, what you think it is? And she's like, oh, nah, it's nice. And so I'm like, okay. So what I realized is that I was cracking open a talent in me that I didn't realize that I had. But I was doing it to really impress my mom and like, you know, like show her what her capabilities were. So it was like a real dual thing. But I was now like, I remember when I first got into it, and it's crazy because it's been slow for me since my mom passed doing it. But I was so into it. Like, it was like I was learning how to rap again. Like when I first started rapping, like where you just are just like the volume is just crazy, right? Like, so I'm like constantly making these clothes. So I end up launching it, launching the line, telling nobody about this beforehand. That's the other thing. Like, it literally was just something that me and my mom and my wife knew before I actually made this public. I didn't want nobody's opinion. I didn't want anything. I had everything up on a website, and I dropped the website, and that was it. But it was crazy because people just took to it. People just loved it, and they took to it, and they supported it. And I remember this is like probably the first month of us, you know, being public, and I sent it to, I DM'd Dapper Dan. And, you know, like a shot in the dark. It's just you don't expect them to open. Yeah, you don't expect them to open it. You know, it's just like, I'm just, look, you know, here it is. So he opened it. He went to the website. He hit me back and was like, sent me like fire emojis, and he's like, I love it, the concept and all. I love it. Like, and that was it for me.
That's it, like, right there.
You couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, yo, Dapper Dan said that this clothing line is fire. There's nothing else that I need. That was like the battery in my back. So yeah, that's how we got started, and it really did do, wonders for my mom's like confidence. She still struggled with that. You know what I mean? But it made her do art on a way more frequent basis, and that was the purpose for me. And I would grab her art sometimes before it was finished and run and go make a design. And I think that's what slows me down. Like when I would design, I would run and show her, and I don't have that element there. So it me being bogged down with so many other things, but that's something that I'm going to fully get my feet back into all the way this year for sure.
With that being said, my brother, like you can't put a value on soul, you can't put a value on creativity and mind. We're gonna go into blackness is better than gold because it can't be weighed, man, and it's the value is beyond measure. So we're gonna check this video out right now. Blackness is better than gold. This is Radio B.
Yeah. Yeah. I said blackness is better than gold. I said blackness is better than gold. Blackness is better than gold. They lacking soul on the stroll. They repent for their sins and all they stole. Y'all back with them niggas that told you out the fold. Please tell me what good is the game without the gold. Y'all talking about some drip. This is so glow. Flow hope. No life jacket reporting live from the Terror Dome. More raps, make more chicken to put curry on. Streets only paved with gold. My Uncle Jerry on. Heaven talk. Holy water wash my sins. You think the levee broke? Same way when I'm up in a giving a heavy stroke. Young boy, never again. That mean I'm never broke. Even if my ends fucked up, that shit I'm blackness is better than gold, or so I'm told. Blackness is better than gold, that's what I know. Blackness is better than gold, that's on my soul. Blackness is better than gold, that's on my soul. Blackness is better than gold, or so I'm told. Blackness is better than gold, that's what I know. Blackness is better than gold, that's on my soul. Blackness is better than gold, that's on my soul. Blackness is better than gold. 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 Job sucker, get up out my spotlight. Bioluminescent, tell them kings to get my spot right. Fuck no, never sell my soul just to earn a wage. Hold up, let it breathe. I said fuck no, never sell my soul just to earn a wage. Rap spiritual, you burn a page just like burning sage. Humble spirit, but still more than you can handle though. Stare at my lady with dreaming eyes like D'Angelo. Hurting your rap, you got a phantom no. Oh Lord, catch me somewhere between the anecdotes. I get anxious but never panic though. Heard you niggas deal with depression, but is it manic though? Wait.
That was good. Do we want to do it one more time, Malcolm? Just let it roll.
Yeah. Go. My brother, before we completely close it out, man, for those that might not know, where can they reach you if they want to collaborate, if they want to talk, if they want to talk fashion, build, whatever? How can people reach you and what you got up next?
You can follow me Instagram, Twitter, Threads, I guess, at Radio Blitz. My website for everything involving me is killdadreamer.com. You can get Mama Joe's collection at mamajoecollection.com. Also rvarapidly.com. If you want to book, you can send booking information to radioblitz12@gmail.com. But yeah, as far as everything else, things coming up, we got, the debut of Heaven's Arcade, March 21st. We got RBA Rap Elite, February 25th. That's a monthly event. Also, please subscribe on YouTube to watch our web shows. Check out that whole thing. We just, we got another Southpaw event coming up in March. We just dropped the battle today, so you can subscribe to that as well on YouTube. Lots of things going on. Just keeping the movement moving. That's really it. I'll be back in the studio very soon. So I'll be definitely putting out some new music soon. I'm excited about that. I've been kind of chilling when it comes to like creating. I released a lot. Also, I released a live album last year. Definitely check that out.
Check it out, y'all.
That's my first like live in studio, like musician, with a band backing, just recorded on the spot. It's called Shaco Sessions. But definitely check that out. It's a really cool album.
I wanna take this time to salute and commend you, my brother. People say carry the torch, but I think it's bigger than carry the torch. You're setting off torches all over in the thoughts and what the outline of what this culture is. Losing tradition, you are maintaining those. So I want to send a salute to you. In the words of my brother Philosophy, about 4 or 5 months, we would love to come back to this and get back to you. I also want to send a big shout out to Philosophy. Feel better, my brother.
Yeah,
send a shout out to Epic TV by way of Miss Jackson Media Group. So shout out to Miss Jackson and Epic TV. And again, before we close, if there's anybody you want to shout out, we're going to close.
I want to shout you out. I want to shout you out because let me tell you, like, I've been doing this a long time, and sometimes we have good interviews. Sometimes we have bad interviews. This was a great interview, and then for it to be an interview with you're standing in last minute. The way that you've presented your information, the way that you have pivoted during this conversation, and the things that you picked up off just sheer dialogue is impressive. And I, as a person that interviews people and has been interviewed so many times, I want to say you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
So I appreciate it. The goal is always to make the artist feel like understood and seen, and you definitely have done that. So I want to say shout out to you. Shout out to Miss Jackson, 100%. She is one of like the most supportive people that I've encountered. So super shout out to her. Shout out to Philosophy, who couldn't be here. Definitely look forward to having a conversation with him in the future. But shout out to the whole camp, RBA Rap Elite staff. I'm not going to get into names. Shout out to my artist collective, AGM, Michael Millions, Nicholas F., Name Brand. Shout out to Southpaw staff, all the battlers, the roster. Shout out to the Heaven's Arcade band. And shout out to Richmond as a whole. There's so many things that I didn't get to touch on and talk about or tell people about. But if y'all tap in, I just ask y'all, please, everyone tap in to what's going on. Oh yeah, shout out to RBA Boombox. Shout out to, hey man, real quick, y'all got a minute. Shout out, because I was just with him yesterday, my man Noah O as well, and Ant Marshall. If you're not familiar with who Ant Marshall is, he is the founder of Lyricist Lounge, the original Lyricist Lounge. And if you don't know about Lyricist Lounge,
you need to find out.
Right. Just do your Googles, you know what I'm saying? MTV, Ruckus.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do your Googles and you'll find out there's such a huge, rich history in what Lyricist Lounge is. The reason that's important to me and having that connection with him is it's a full circle moment when we started RVA Rapidly, our first year we were called RVA Lyricist Lounge. That's what we called ourselves. Now, I had no connection to the man at that time. This was just off of sheer, like, this is the feel that we're trying to present to our city, right? Like, this the feel of what a lyricist lounge would be, not necessarily even thinking about the original lyricist lounge to the brand, but more so the essence of it. And I take a hot second to say, I remember we were promoting maybe like our second or third event, and it was posted on one of my homies' pages, and I remember Aunt Marshall commented on one of the flyers, and he was like, who approved this? What is this? Like, nobody approved this. Somebody needs to get in contact with me. And I was like, oh shit, and we didn't end up having like a conversation or anything. But what I did was by the time we ended that season, I went ahead and I did my due diligence and switched the brand, to RVA Rapidly. And then it just so happened that he had roots in Richmond, that he had lived in Richmond on the low, and he was cool with my man DJ Reese, and DJ Reese made the connection, and and he loves everything that we're doing. He lives back here now, and he'll be getting involved with the scene, and so I'm excited about what kind of things that we can build together. But it's such a full circle moment because Lyricist Lounge was created from the same spirit that we created Rapidly and these other things that we're doing, and to be able to kind of come together now and be able to laugh at that,
like you said, full circle.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy thing. So I feel like it was only right for me to kind of wrap this conversation up with that, because I do want to shout him out, because he's like, yo, you can put our logo on anything you want, and I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. Like, I could, that's crazy to be here. You know what I'm saying? So, so shout out to Aunt Marshall, shout out to hip hop, man, and as a whole. Shout out to Mad Skills too, man, for putting Richmond hip hop on the map from the very beginning. From the beginning,
yes.
You know what I mean? So, and still doing that, doing amazing things, and the relationship that I've been able to build with him as well. So, yeah, man, shout out to MJMG.
Shout it out. That's right.
And, yeah, so much love.
Thank you, my brother. I love that. We're going to end this one on shout out to hip hop. Also, I want to shout out all our viewers and everyone who commented and participated in making this conversation so dope and energy. Shout out to y'all. Everybody be safe. Have a good one. Keep creative, but know your balance. I'm Spur Brooklyn, and this was another dope sit down with Radio B. Be on the lookout for some more, y'all. Have a good night.
Salute.
You're now tuned in to MJMG Presents, right here on Epic TV Media Worldwide.